The University of Oregon is located in Eugene, a city of 80,000 people, situated in the lush Willamette River Valley, midway between Cascade Mountains and the Pacific Ocean.
Touchdown, Stewart. Yeah, I got your speed right here.
Hey, ball corner 10, outside 5. Are you kidding me?
I'm really proud of where this team's at. We got a lot of work to do.
What's the deal, Duck family? I am Kenjon alongside Jonathan Stewart, and welcome to another episode of the Ducks Have a Feather podcast. Man, do we have some things to talk about on this episode. On this episode, we'll be discussing the Idaho versus Oregon game and the upcoming game this week versus Boise State. But before we get to Boise State, let's get to this past week's game. What were your thoughts, Jay Stu?
Now, listen here, fella. I ain't gonna sugarcoat it.
Please don't.
It was bad.
Yes, it was.
I'll give you my initial thoughts, and then as it sits overnight, let the thing settle, and I wake up the next day, how I felt. My initial thoughts were, we was texting each other. We are on a upset alert.
Week one.
Out the gate, man. So my initial, reaction was, okay, first quarter, we're working out the kinks. Okay, I get it. Come, second half, let's make some adjustments, get the guys back out there and score some points and do it at free will. That's what I wanted to see out of the offense. Defense did their thing. They were stout for the most part, getting turnovers, 2 interceptions, but it's all about finishing drives, man.
Right.
You got to finish drives.
Couple things. One thing I'm never going to do on here, I'm never going to make a game more than what it is or less than what it should be. This was not the performance that they wanted to put on tape. This was not the performance that I believe they deserved, nor the fan base. But it was a game that they needed. To come right out of the gate and get punched in your mouth the way that we did, regardless of the win or not, we were punched in the mouth. We were humbled. A lot of times when you're in these locker rooms, being at Oregon at essentially its peak with Chip, we knew how good we were. We knew the team that we had. We knew what we were going to do each and every week coming out. We had a confidence about us, but we never underestimated an opponent. And I believe that's what was done in this game. I believe they underestimated Idaho, just like a lot of us did. I mean, I gave my score prediction. I think I said 63-7 or something like that.
I said about the same thing.
Right. So we got punched in the mouth. And I'm thankful that we did, because now this should wake this team up. This team was embarrassed. From a player standpoint, from a coaching staff, this was not the performance that they wanted to put on film. This was not what you want other teams to see. Tell me some things that you've seen that you feel like they should clean up or could be capitalized on potentially going forward.
Well, I'll tell you, 2.9 yards per carry ain't going to cut it.
Ain't going to cut it.
It's not going to cut it. I don't care if you in Pee-wee, middle school, high school, powder puff. You have to get yards per carry up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have Jordan James in the backfield. You got Noah Whittington. I would like to see Jay Harris come get into the mix, right?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
When your offensive line is struggling, sometimes you got to put a bruiser back there.
Yeah.
Let's see what he can do.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to protect the quarterback. We have to be able to make running lanes available for the running backs. But we have to be able to control the trenches. If we don't control the line of scrimmage,
we don't stand a chance.
Much
of what you've seen, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. And what you put on film is what you are until you change it.
Mm-hmm.
I seen a offensive line that was dictated to rather than being the dictator. I seen a protection group, offensive line, quarterback, and running back, who did not handle pressure well. They put that on film, and once you put that on film, what do you think is going to happen? That's going to come more and more and more and more until you show that you can protect. I seen a group of guys that you got to drop your nuts. This is football.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. It's football. And as big as our offensive line is, and as small as Idaho defensive line was, we should have dominated that game, and we did not dominate in the fashion in which we should. The penalties, unacceptable. Offensive linemen lining up offsides. Just things that cannot happen, things that should not happen. Again, Mr. Dillon, he has to get better in the pocket. He has to get comfortable.
Yeah.
There was a few times where I believe he could have slid or could have stepped up. That could have maybe prolonged the play a little bit before the pressure got there. As you mentioned, Jordan James. Our backs have to get better at pre-snap recognition. And what I mean by that is you have to be able to identify where your potential blitz pickups are coming from. The first thing you need to do as a back is find who you're responsible for as a back at any point in time in any protection.
And you can do that by reading the safeties.
Absolutely.
Read the safeties. If one guy's shifting over, you know something's about to happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. After that, you find potential threats after that. But once you go through your pre-snap reads and you get your read, you lock in. And on the play where Dylan hurt his hand, if Jordan James recognizes his responsibility sooner, and if he reacts sooner, that pocket is a lot cleaner and we don't have the scare that we had with Dylan in his hand. And alongside that, if Dylan just slides over just slightly, maybe he's there in time to kind of clean that up, run the linebacker by. It's the first game of the season. And Doug fans understand this. I don't want to press the panic button. That's not what we're here to do. There's a lot of things that weren't shown from the offense. I believe this was probably about less than a quarter of the offense that this team has to give. You don't want to show your hand. You don't want to let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. So I understand that they were playing a more dumbed down form of offense. But as far as the performance, that just can't happen. It can't happen again going forward. You're going to play better teams, much bigger and stronger teams. So you have to play your brand of football and you have to execute. And that's just something that we did not do.
If you run the ball, it makes everything easier. Because what happened, we had to get first down, so we had to pass the ball. Because we was getting 2.9 yards per carry. So if you get that thing up there, boy, we're going to be all right. Because, I mean, look at this. 487 yards total offense.
Total.
Now that speaks that if you told me that, I'm thinking, oh, they dominated the game, right? So that's where we're not fearful of how they played. We know what's in there. We all saw flashes. I mean, Tez Johnson, he obviously is a top receiver in the nation. We know what he can do, and it was good to see him. You saw guys towards the end of that game that basically took their game to another level to make sure that they didn't lose the game. Tez Johnson. I would say
we've seen that more defensively than we did offensively.
But I'll say Tez Johnson, right?
Yeah,
There
absolutely.
was a crucial third down where he caught a quick route, but he turned up immediately, understanding the down and distance to get that first down. And then you have Jordan James. Towards the end of the game, he was moving piles. He was driving his legs for a first down. It was like an 11-yard run. I'm like, man, this is how you should be running.
That's how you come out the gate. That's how you come out the gate. You don't wait until it's crunch time and the situation is like that. You set the tone. In any situation in life, you want to be the one that set the tone and not have the tone set on you. Another guy that I was highly impressed with, I was impressed with Sadiq. I was wondering this season who would be the Tez Johnson this year. In this offense, who would step up, who would be that next playmaker that would be able to come around, make plays, make splash plays, and I seen that in him. I was extremely excited about the things that I seen and the way that they used him. I love the get your words together.
It's a beat 'em up word.
Hit me in my mouth. The diversity and how they used him was incredible, and I'm really excited about that. Who else was a player that you believe stood out? That kind of made a name for themselves and kind of grabbed the attention?
Let me see. Brandon Johnson.
Yes.
DB.
Yes. BJ.
Yeah, because, especially coming from Duke, I kind of heard his name, especially when we picked him up at Oregon when he was trying to jump ship because, Duke ain't got no football team. So,
Wow.
So it was good to see someone step up in the secondary. In order for you to be a contender, you have to have a defensive line that can rush the quarterback.
Absolutely.
But you also got to have a secondary that can cover just in case you come up against some dogs at the line of scrimmage, because you're not just going to get to everybody's quarterback. You're going to have to cover. And so seeing guys like Brandon Johnson having, the ball skills, having the awareness, that, to be able to make plays is huge because we've had that in the past.
Sticking to what you said when you mentioned D-line, another guy was Teo. Pressures, sacks, just a guy who made his presence felt on that field. That's going to be a guy that teams are going to have to look for, find out where he's at. You're going to have to send your O-line to him. I love what we've seen defensively. I love what our defense did. They gave up one explosive play in the run game, which accounted for a little less than half of their total rushing yards. I think it was a gain of 23. But they contained the game. Without our defense, I think that game turns out completely different. There's more offensive possibilities for Idaho. So I was extremely happy with our defense. This is the thing about the beginning of football seasons in camp, and you understand this. Offenses take more time to gel than defenses do. Defenses come together and it's like that. You would think that they've been planning games all season long. It just takes offenses a little bit longer. So I'm excited where the defense is, and I look forward to see where this offense will be and what it will do next week. So speaking about what it will be, let's get into this game that we have upcoming this week against Boise State. We understand the history.
Oh, boy, there is a history.
And the history is not in our favor. What they say, may the odds forever be in your favor. They're not in our favor. They haven't been. I know firsthand, being there for 2 of the 3 losses in 2008 and 2009. But I will say this, those teams were completely different than what this current team is. And this is no disrespect to this current roster nor this coaching staff, but this isn't Coach Peterson. This isn't Kellen. This isn't Kellen Moore at quarterback. This isn't Austin Pettis. This isn't Titus. This isn't any of those guys that they had during that time. Those teams were built and constructed to win, and they did that at a high rate. So this isn't that team, but I did like what I seen from. I love what I seen from the running back, Jonte, I believe. I hope I'm not messing. If I messed your name up, brother, I apologize. Jinty. Did you say it right?
I don't know, but we're gonna call him Jinty.
Listen, brother, I'm sorry if that's not your name. Okay, but he had one heck of a performance. He ran for 20, had 20 attempts on 267 for 6 touchdowns. Okay, running.
That boy's still running.
What? Right now, going for touchdown number 12. What'd you think about his performance?
Yeah, so Ashton Jeanty, man, he's a top 10 running back in the nation.
Yeah.
The draft really is calling his name. He's an NFL type running back, in my opinion.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
No question.
He's a dual threat. He can be a receiving threat out of the backfield. He can run in between tackles. And his stop and go is incredible. Meaning, you ever see a guy that goes out into the flat and there's a linebacker right over him, and he just stops, and the linebacker stops, and then he just take off. I'm gone.
Absolutely. Well, I heard an announcer say it's like smoke through a keyhole.
Oh, smoke through a keyhole is perfect example, boy.
Out of there. Nah, he's impressive.
But he's also very physical.
I was just going to say that.
Very, very physical. And that's what makes him a special back, because not a lot of backs in college have the total package. They try to have the total package, right?
Right.
But to be able to utilize it, in a game and do it consistently. The reason why I think he's a dog is because there's consistency with his play.
Yes.
The last 3 years, he's been putting it up.
Yeah.
And to be doing it on a roster that is basically just you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I mean, he was the player of the year last year in their conference.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he's going to be the exact same. You know, the way he came out this year, stacking, that game on top of last year. I'm pretty sure that offenses are probably going to be drooling over this guy.
Yeah.
Come draft time.
When I'm looking at backs, there's a lot of different things. You look at, obviously, their footwork, their ability to get in and out of cuts, their ability to cut off one foot rather than being a gather cutter, guys that kind of has to chop his feet to get cuts. He's a big back.
Yeah.
Big back. I love his contact balance.
Oh, yeah, contact balance.
Contact balance for a running back is crucial. That's what gives you your yards after contact. That's what gives you those long runs, those runs that typically look like a 2, 3, 4 yard run, but you break through contact and you add another 10, 15, 20 onto that. I love his contact balance. And like you said, his physicality is something that we're going to have to match. And like I said, this isn't the Boise that Oregon seen in 2008 and 2009. This team is not constructed that way. I am expecting Oregon to handle them early. I believe that we were embarrassed again, like I said, as a coaching staff. We were embarrassed as players. I believe that Boise should be mad at Idaho. They've woken Oregon up. They're at attention. They're on notice. They know what they put on film.
What is the game plan that you are taking into this week, especially coming off of, the slow start from Idaho last week?
If I'm the coach, we're going to run this football. And again, this is no disrespect to any team, not disrespect to Boise. It's not disrespect to Georgia Southern. But if you watch that game, there's a lot of yards given up on both sides of the ball. So if I'm Oregon, I need to reestablish myself as a physical team, and that starts with the run game. So right out the block, I'm running the ball. I may not pass the ball in my first series. We're going to run the ball down your throat. We're going to establish physicality. We're going to establish the line of scrimmage, and we're going to take control of the game right then and there. Secondly, we have to get the ball downfield.
Yeah.
We did a lot of dink and dunk last week. We had a whole lot of yards, but no points. 24 points doesn't match the amount of yards that we had. So we need to attack them downfield. Again, this is no disrespect to either Boise or Georgia Southern, but you have to take advantage of a team's weakness. And defensively, Boise does not have what it takes to stay in a game with Oregon. And that needs to be shown early and often.
Why is it so important to establish the physicality early on?
It's the same. First impressions are lasting impressions. If I show you that I can't be physical early, I can expect teams to come in my stadium or whoever we're playing, wherever we're playing, and they have a confidence about them that they can take our heart.
Mm-hmm.
Football it's a warrior sport. It's a me versus you. It's a I want to break your will. And you can score as many points as you want, but if a game isn't physical, you're not moving anybody. Yeah. You have to take your opponent's will, and you do that through physical play. You have to put your
put your nuts on the table, son.
Sometimes you got to put your nuts on the table, son.
Yes.
No, but listen, you have to put your foot on your opponent's throat. And when you do that game in and game out, I don't care what a coach says to you. You, as a player, you see it on film. Who's that, number 70? Number 10? I got to block him.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mental game.
In the pros, I heard this term. It's a copycat league.
Yes, sir.
But it's a copycat league, not just in the pros, in college.
Absolutely.
When you see something on tape, you exploit it.
Absolutely.
Right? So if you show on tape that you tiptoeing through the line of scrimmage, you're going to get your head knocked off.
Absolutely.
If you're showing on tape that you eyeing down receivers from the snap,
you're going to get picked off.
You're going to get picked off.
Yeah.
And if you're showing on tape that you're getting beat on the edge.
What you think coming?
That blitz and that edge rusher at the same time.
I'm hoping that Boise really paid attention. I'm hoping their coaching staff tries to replicate what Idaho did, because that is just another test it'll be another test that Oregon can pass. It'll be preparation, because these first three games, they're not Big Ten play.
Mm-hmm.
They aren't the Ohio States. They aren't the Michigans. They aren't the Penn State. They aren't any of these teams where you're really going to face guys. You're really going to face a level of competition that is far greater than what you're facing in these first three games. There's one thing to be able to rep it in practice, but it's completely different when those bullets are flying live.
Live bullets.
Live bullets will make a man out of you. They're going to make you or break you.
Yeah, them bullets do not have a name on it.
It's one thing to rep it in practice, but game reps are the most important reps. It's physical. It's right now. It's real. It's reactive. And that's what's going to prepare Oregon. If they don't get the reps at this live in this preseason, once they get into conference play, I would hate to see teams bring these pressures, and Oregon have not had an opportunity to work at this.
And I'll go out there and say, don't think Boise State's coaching staff is pleased with their performance. I mean, the amount of points that they got scored on them, I'm pretty sure that defense is over there running gassers, getting talked about, all kind of stuff. Yeah, you got a basketball score up on there.
Where's the defense?
What is going on here, fella? Y'all letting Ashton have to score 6 touchdowns to beat these guys.
Crazy.
So don't think that they're going to come in and just lay down. You know, they're going to come in trying to, play ball and be coachable and change things as well. So again, man, this is just an opportunity for you to rise out of the ashes, wake up, and get the job done. You know, you can't borrow the success of the past. You have to create your own, create your own lane.
Philosophical.
Yeah, philosophical out here, brother. Yeah, you know, I've been reading these books, man.
Listen, I want you to say it one more time.
I'll share with y'all later.
So with that being said, what is your prediction for this game score-wise?
I would like to say 61-18 or something like that, dog. That's how I really feel as far as watching Georgia Southern put them points up. Why can't we put that much?
It requires throwing the ball downfield, though.
Oh, let's talk about that.
You can't have short and intermediate passes all game long.
Yes.
That's not going to cut it. So
is that because we're not looking in certain areas, or is it because these routes are being covered because we're not running the ball efficiently? I mean, again, if you got 2.9 yards per carry, them linebackers and DBs chilling.
Ain't worry about a thing.
So we have to be able to run the ball so that way we can actually open up this offense.
Again, I want to put that on Oregon didn't want to show anything. That's what I want to put it on. That's what I would like to put it on. I think Dylan just has to get comfortable. He has to get comfortable. He has to have time. You have to protect him. And once he gets into his flow, I believe we'll see more deep balls. We have to see more deep balls. Otherwise, we don't stand a chance. So as far as the outcome of this game, I'm going right back to where I was last week. Here's what I believe about this team. I believe this team is going to rise to the level of the talent that they're playing against. Based off of what Gene T did, our defense is going to be up. Right now in the meeting rooms, right now at practice, they talking about 20 for 267 and 6 touchdowns right now. That defense is going to be woke. That defense is going to be on fire. I'm not worried about that.
Y'all better not let number 2 come in here and embarrass y'all.
Don't let him come in here and break every school record rushing-wise that Oregon has ever known. Don't let him do that. The defense is going to be woke. The defensive line is going to do their job. They're going to be great. I'm going right back. This game should be 63-7.
Oof, I like that. Defense, come on, baby.
I believe that we're talented enough to do that. We showed what we can be. We gave up a few big plays on defense, but the first touchdown was off of a trick play. That's a whole conversation. Sudden change, you got to expect a deep ball. You got to expect something. Defensively, we're talented and we're physical enough to hold this team. We showed what we can do in the run game. We showed that. And that is Boise's strength. Their strength is our strength, stopping the run. So I believe, again, I'm going right back to where I was last week. I would love to see a shutout, and I think it's possible, but it's going to take a lot. So that's my prediction. I'm going 63-7, going right back to where I was last week.
63-7.
Going right back to where I was last week.
And I'm going to go 63-18.
You're giving up too many points, bro.
Nah, man, I'm just over here thinking to myself, once we get to like 50-something, they're going to put the backups in there.
No. After last week, ain't no backup coming in.
Oh, so if you was coach right now, you basically saying, hey, y'all playing the whole game. No matter what.
Earn it. I'm embarrassed.
They up 50-0.
I'm not taking my foot off the gas. Listen, if I was a coach, teams would hate me.
I'm trying to play for you, coach.
Teams would hate me, but I would expect the same done to me.
Yeah.
I'm not taking my foot off the gas.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put you in a hole and keep you in a hole.
Mm-hmm.
But when you leave this game, I want you mad. I want you dejected. I want you questioning everything about what you've done this far. I want you to question why you got on a plane and came to Eugene.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period.
Yeah, you about to get this butt whooping.
I want the team
Boise,
that we're playing
I don't know
next.
why you even came here.
Why you come over here bothering these nice people?
They still got that blue field?
Yeah.
Why they got that blue field, man?
That blue field is amazing, and we got whooped on that blue field.
We should have had Gearhart come on here. I know he got some things to talk about with Boise State.
Shout out. We're not going to do that. Let's leave that alone.
If I'm Oregon, I'm playing that video.
Right hand of justice.
And I'm basically saying, this is what we doing to Boise State when they come to Oregon.
This is what we doing. We hitting them in the mouth.
Straight up.
Right in the mouth.
And for all the people out there that are up in arms about what happened last week, relax.
Yeah, take a breath.
Take a breath. You know, we know that is not the standard of football that the University of Oregon wants to put on display. Just look at this as an opportunity, like Kenjon said earlier. It's a blessing in disguise. Sometimes medicine is good for you, right? And so take the medicine, not just as a team, but fans. We're going into the Big Ten. We need to be the standard. We need to ride by our team no matter what. We need to make sure that we, don't jump off the bandwagon. And when people want to jump on, Point them out. When we sitting in a good space, a good spot at the end of the year, please believe them receipts will come out.
This is not time to hit the panic button. This is game one of a long season. Doug fans, please do not panic. Don't turn and, start down talking the team and down talking Coach
the
Lanning.
pitchforks and the fires and all that out.
Yeah, save all that. This is one game, and it's a wake-up call, and be thankful for it, like my guy Jay Stu said. So we heard what I would do as far as a game plan. What would be your thoughts? What do you think we should do for this upcoming game that we didn't see or didn't do last week?
To be honest, I wouldn't really change a thing. I'd just be more efficient.
Right.
No mental errors. Just be confident in what you've been preparing for. You've spent a whole offseason grinding and putting in the work. Be confident in that. Don't do anything outside of yourself. Play within yourself and just do your job. Right. And so, as far as like schematics, I'm thinking, let's take some shots. But in order to take shots, we got to earn it. Right. You know what I'm saying? We got to make guys come up to the line of scrimmage.
Run that ball.
Run the ball.
Run that ball.
And so who I would like to see is Jay Harris.
You and me both.
I want to see Jay Harris.
You and me both.
Back there in the backfield. I want to see what he can do. Bring some physicality.
Listen, I know what he can do. I witnessed it firsthand.
Oh, yeah, you seen it firsthand at the spring game?
Put that boy in the game. I understand we got Jordan James and Noah, and I love those guys. Put number 22 in and let him spin.
22 in, let him spin, baby. That's what I'm talking about. That's the game plan right there. 22 in, let him spin.
Yes, sir.
But basically, man, it's just the basics. Control the offensive line. Control the line of scrimmage. Offensive line has to block. Defensive line, keep doing your thing. Mental errors, throw them out the window. Finish drives. If you don't finish drives, the 480-something yards don't matter.
At all.
And that's that. There's no other answer to this game and the outcome. Because what you said earlier, guess who's watching? Ohio State. Michigan State. Michigan. All the Big Ten schools, we planted our flag with the duck in the river, all that. Don't you be over here setting ourselves up for, a meme, okay? It's a new day and age, right? So, but if I'm, just going into this week in preparation, just continue to prepare and get deeper into, what you are as an offensive unit. And offensive line, I think we have Matthew Bedford coming back, hopefully. Matthew Bedford, offensive guard, right guard. So, there's a lot of shuffling that had to take place because he got hurt during fall camp. And so, but the thing is, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're not going to have your guys, your starters, healthy throughout the whole entire season. They're going to have nicks and bruises and bangs and whatnot. So you're going to have the depth and be able to figure out the right formula at the offensive line to have guys that know what they're doing, that can finish plays, that can finish blocks. And maybe it's the same, unit that we had last week. But if it's not, and we have Matthew Bedford back, we're 10 times better.
I agree. Well, listen, folks, that's all we have time for during this episode. It's been great. It's been fun. Jay Stu, I love you.
Love you too, dog.
And remember, ducks of a feather flock together. Take care, buddy.